Here we go with a new video for long run costs for Mod 56. This is actually a super easy concept. Mod 56 takes a little just kind of understanding what's up, but for the most part, it looks way more confusing than it is. First of all, what you're going to get is this different graph over here where it says economies of scale, diseconomies of scale, and then all these lines. Okay, basically what's going to happen when a firm starts to produce, it's going to have an average total cost curve. And you should have graphed one of those by now. So when you're looking at your average total cost curve, it's going to look something like that smiley face U, right? So you're going to get something that looks like this. So let's call that average total cost curve your average total cost curve 1. So ATC1. When you have ATC1, you can see it on this graph over here. They call it ATC3. What that means is you're trying to produce, if at all possible, at this lowest point on your average total cost curve. So what you want to try to do is produce, let's say this is 10 units or something like that. Okay. Well, as you get bigger, this is what you're experiencing, and obviously price over here and quantity here. But as you get bigger, you're trying to have these costs come down, but then when you get too big, your costs start to go back up. Because something is fixed, plant size, whatever it might be, you can choose to make another plant. Like you can choose to say to yourself, hey, if we're getting bigger, maybe we should start making more. Because as you start making, let's say, 15 units over here, those 15 units, it starts to become more expensive for you. And you don't want your expenses to go up. But if you could knock out that wall, make your plant a little bit bigger, you could have another average total cost curve that looks like this. And let's say that's called ATC2. At ATC2, if you were going to produce 15 units, you'd actually be on the downslope of your average total cost curve. And you'd actually come all the way down, like maybe even 20 units is what bottoms out my average total cost curve here. So because that, you can keep doing this into infinity, right? So as I go from ATC1 to ATC2, as I start to get bigger, let's say I go to 25 units again, and oh no, at 25 units, I'm increasing. We don't want to increase, so time to make the plant bigger. So we go to ATC3, and ATC3 looks like this. And as I get my ATC3 out here, you can see at 25 units, now I'm on the downslope. When I get out here to like 30 units, I'll be at the bottom. So as you look at all those different average total cost curves, what we're going to find is there's a long run average total cost curve. And my long run average total cost curve is basically the bottoms of all of them. So if I follow my first one to my second one to my third one, that red line is now my long run average total cost curve. That is where I should produce if I was in the long run at any of those particular quantities, so I could get those particular prices to be minimized. As this thing slopes downward, then you can break this off to about here. Anything in that area is going to be called this economies of scale. What that means is as I get bigger, my costs are actually going down. And because of my costs going down as I get bigger, it's things like I can buy in bulk, or as I look at, maybe De Pere, even if I could somehow share with West De Pere, I might be able to get rid of one of the superintendents and just have one. Like my costs are coming down as I get bigger. That's economies of scale. This middle part is actually called a constant return to scale. So anything like right in here would be like constant return to scale. All right. And that just means like you're flat. It doesn't matter anything on there, you're good. And then of course, this far part over here, anything in this area, this is a diseconomy of scale. And a diseconomy of scale means as I get bigger, no matter what I do, my costs are increasing. You do not want to be there. A diseconomy of scale is super, super bad. So anything over there, probably the thing I can think about the most is imagine you're the United States and you're in charge of the nukes, right? So you go through and you're like 1, 2, 3, 4. Just wait, like there's supposed to be 5 nukes here. I only count 4. When you're so big that you don't know where the nukes are, that's a diseconomy of scale. So as you look at it, anytime you're in this area of this diseconomy of scale, that just means your costs, no matter if you're getting bigger, are going to be increasing. You want to try to be in this economy of scale size or side, but remember, all this really is in the long run, it's made up of all these little short run average total cost curves. And if you can change over everything, that's when you're in the long run. So that's what this is showing us. We have ATC3, ATC6, ATC9, and then I have my long run one that's connecting the bottom of all those points, showing me where I should produce. Remember, the short run, it just is one input is fixed. In the long run, all inputs are variable, meaning we could change over everything. And of course, there's your economies of scale and diseconomies of scale. All it's talking about is that falling versus rising. And diseconomies of scale is something that's fun to say. It's one of those things in econ where you want to answer it. It's not always the right answer, though. It just means that your costs are constantly increasing, even if you get bigger. And last but not least, sunk costs. There's really nothing about sunk costs like on a test I can imagine. It just simply means that if you have some costs that are already have happened, don't make a bad decision based off of a previous bad decision. Like if you think about if the milk is spilled, right? You can't put the milk back in the glass. There's no reason to be upset about it. That's a sunk cost. Like there's nothing you can do. If you have a car and you just put new brakes on it and then the engine goes, you shouldn't say, well, I have to repair the engine now because I just put new brakes on. No, it's time to get rid of that car. That's a sunk cost. Like the brakes would have been a sunk cost. It's too bad you did it, but at the same time, it is what it is. All right, that should be long run stuff. That's the end of this module, and that's the end of this section. So you should be looking at a test coming up next. Thanks a lot. Bye.